The Chicago Bears have declined Trubisky's fifth-year option. Does Trubisky have a future in Chicago? What's going on, guys? I'm back with another Bears offseason news video. If you're new to the channel, subscribe if you want more Bears content, more highlight videos, reaction videos, and so forth. And guys, this is something that I've been expecting for a long time. It's not really news, but I thought I'd give you guys my reaction just for the hell of it. The Bears declined Trubisky's fifth-year option. You know, it's an option that would have cost them about $24 million in 2021, so it makes total sense why they declined it. You know, I think that anybody with a brain that follows the Chicago Bears, they knew the Bears were going to decline this option because you just simply don't commit that much money to a quarterback that hasn't proven himself in the NFL yet. Still, okay? If you look at where Trubisky was drafted, number 2 overall, we all know what the national media story is, okay? We passed on Deshaun Watson, we passed on Patrick Mahomes. You know, even though it's annoying for us Bears fans to hear that, it is obviously true, okay? Trubisky, so far, he's not lived up to his number 2 overall selection. He hasn't been as productive or as successful as Watson and Mahomes in the NFL so far, but one major thing that you have to take into account that the media fails to take into account is that the supporting cast and maybe even the coaching to some extent, at least early, around Mahomes and Watson was far better than what Trubisky received, okay? Trubisky, first of all, he had John Fox the first year, okay? That's a horrible coach. That's a horrible system to be in. So he really only started in the system with Matt Nagy in his second year. And he did have a lot of success his first year with Matt Nagy, but his second year, when there were other problems as well, i.e. the offensive line, really questionable play calling by Matt Nagy, our receivers just dropping passes left and right, no running game to speak of at all. When we had all these other problems, that's when Trubisky also took a step back. But again, man, the media wanted to blame 100% of the fault on Trubisky, which is totally unfair. Now, I'm not trying to make any excuses for Trubisky. I still think that he hasn't came close to proving himself in the NFL. There are many parts of his game that are just really terrible right now. Okay, his consistency with his accuracy is not there at all. He's really inconsistent. You know, going down the field, that deep ball accuracy last year was not there at all. Even when he did have time sometimes, okay? The few times he did have time in the pocket, he still missed those deep balls, pretty often. His decision-making, his ability to process, pre-snap what's going on, it's not there with Trubisky so far. At least we have not seen that yet. And also from a pure talent perspective, Trubisky is not the talent that Patrick Mahomes is, and he probably never will be, okay? That's a really high bar to set, and few players in the NFL are ever going to accomplish the things that Patrick Mahomes has already accomplished in his first 2 years, okay? That's just something that nobody really saw coming, okay? Now, my hope is that someday Trubisky can be that talent that Deshaun Watson has been so far, because that's definitely a goal that's achievable for him, but he's going to have to turn on the switch fast because time is running out, okay? A lot of Chicago has already lost their patience with Trubisky. The media has already lost it, a long time ago. They never even had patience with Trubisky to begin with. So, forget the media, but time is running out is what I'm trying to say here. And if Trubisky does not turn it on this offseason, if he does not win that starting job at some point this season and have a pretty decent season with it, he is going to be gone next year. We're not going to see Trubisky in a Bears uniform for next year. He's going to be an unrestricted free agent heading into 2021. So if he is still not won that starting job, if he's still the backup behind Foles, or maybe if he did win that starting job and he was not great at all with it, if he regressed even more, then again, we're going to get rid of him and we're not going to sign him back, okay, to a contract. At that point, I feel like some other teams in the NFL, they would be willing to take a look at Trubisky because, man, teams in the NFL are desperate for starting quarterbacks. And I know people here want to say that no other team is possibly going to pick up Trubisky, right? Yeah, that could not be further from the truth, guys. I'm 100% sure a team like maybe even the Patriots, okay? A team that knows how to develop and build up quarterbacks in a proven system, they would be willing to take a look at Trubisky right now because you really think that Stidham is going to be the answer for them? Maybe he could be, but whatever the case is, man, Trubisky, if he does not win that starting job, he's going to be gone from Chicago because at that point, he would need some change of scenery to revive his career. Now, let's talk about what happens if Trubisky does win the starting job. He beats out Foles and does have that Cinderella season and, maybe leads the Bears into a playoff run. That's when things get a little bit tricky, guys. You have to decide if you give Trubisky a full contract just based on one good year, or if you franchise tag him. Now, my opinion is, and what's probably going to happen, is that the Bears would franchise tag Trubisky in that situation. And I don't think Trubisky is the type of guy that would want to hold out over that, because he knows also that he's failed Chicago so far in his first couple years of his career. So, I think he would be okay with playing on that franchise tag. Now, financially, it would be a burden on the Bears, because the franchise tag next year for quarterbacks is going to cost anywhere from like $27 to $29 million, somewhere in that range. So that's a hell of a lot of money to pay for a team that's already struggling financially, cap-wise. And at that point, we would have to make some decisions, okay, on the roster. Maybe you have to cut somebody on defense. Maybe you have to cut somebody on offense to make the cap work out. But obviously, a quarterback is more important than any other position on the team. And if Trubisky had actually figured it out, if Trubisky had a good season, then it would be a no-brainer to franchise tag him and sacrifice somewhere else. Now, the good part about all this is that Nick Foles restructuring his contract is going to help us out tremendously, okay? Because if he had the same contract he had in Jacksonville, there would be no way we could even think about keeping Trubisky beyond next year. It just would not be financially feasible. But now it is, okay? Because even though Nick Foles does have a pretty decent-sized contract, it's nowhere near as bad as it was, and we would still be able to afford having Trubisky and him for next year, if we made some sacrifices somewhere else. So, guys, that's the best case scenario, obviously, because obviously we do want Trubisky to succeed. We invested a number 2 overall draft pick in him. We invested so much time in him. The best thing for the Chicago Bears would be that he succeeds and he is the quarterback of our future. But again, if he is not, if he fails to do that, he's going to be in a different uniform next year, and we're probably going to draft another quarterback in 2021. So yeah, as of now, Trubisky's future in Chicago does look a little bit bleak, because beyond next year, there's no guarantee at all. He's going to have to earn everything he gets. He's going to have to prove to the Bears that he deserves to be here, beyond next year, because so far he hasn't. And again, I do hope that the supporting cast around him also shows up, okay? The offensive line, it better be better next season, otherwise Ryan Pace, man, he's going to be on the hot seat. The receivers around him, besides Allen Robinson, I want other people to step up as well, like Anthony Miller or Riley Ridley, or one of the new guys we got, Darnell Mooney, Ted Ginn, whoever, man. Somebody needs to step up, and there needs to be a running game this year too. Otherwise, we're, again, not going to have any success on offense. But if we do have a good supporting cast around Trubisky, and he still doesn't take a step forward, then at that point, we would have to get rid of him. It would be really sad. It would be the end of an era. It would be another failed Bears draft pick at quarterback. And, I would hate to see that day, but, it's on Trubisky to make sure that that doesn't happen, okay? So let me know what you guys think about this in the comments down below. I know that the fan base has so many differing opinions on Trubisky. It really seems like half and half, okay? Half the fan base supports Trubisky, half the fan base doesn't. There's people like me in the middle that, although we love Trubisky, although we're hoping for him to succeed, we're also reasonable with it, and we're not going to expect anything crazy, because it's not likely, okay? I'm going to say that right now. It's not likely that Trubisky is going to beat out Nick Foles, that he's going to have the Cinderella season, that he's going to prove everybody wrong. It's not likely at all. But the beautiful thing about sports, man, is that crazy things happen, okay? Crazy things that you never thought were possible in your wildest dreams, they do happen every once in a while. And maybe this could be one of those times. So maybe Trubisky could make it happen. I would be really surprised. I would be pleasantly surprised, obviously, because I love the kid, okay? I'm hoping for him to succeed. I wouldn't place money on it, obviously, but shit, man, it's the NFL. Crazier things have happened. And again, Trubisky does have potential. He still has all that athleticism he had in college. He still has that flashes of potential that he showed, his first year in the Matt Nagy system. And watching his college tape, man, he showed some incredible accuracy that entire season. And maybe he can be a pretty capable quarterback in the NFL with the right system. I just hope the Chicago Bears are that system. So let me know what you guys think about all this down below again. But as always, bear down.